It's time to go beyond the headlines, cause I don't put in overtime just so I can headline. Okay, now it's Fox Sports, I'm live with Renee. Going hard every day, sports rapping every play. Different segments for your favorites, coming at you daily with positive vibes, yeah, we some game changers. Basketball, football, soccer, with different interviews, you never know who may pop up. Listen, only on Beyond the Headlines, this is Beyond the Headlines. Only on Beyond the Headlines, this is Beyond the Headlines. Only on Beyond the Headlines, this is Beyond the Headlines with Renee Washington.
Joining us now on Beyond the Headlines with Renee Washington from Florida, we've got Anthony Fasano, a former NFL player. Anthony, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I know you are also born in and from New Jersey, so I'm also thrilled to have you here on the show. I always like to connect with people that are from the Garden State. But
likewise.
I would like to take a journey through your football career. You know, let's go back to when you were drafted in 2006, the start of your 12 years in the NFL. You know, as you get at that moment, as you get to hear your name being called, take us through that. You're going to Dallas. You're playing with the Cowboys. You know, you're starting that next part of your career. You know, what was that moment?
Well, since we're on Jersey, maybe we back up even further. I started off in third grade and in the Pop Warner system in New Jersey. Played 6 years there, 4 years in high school. Was able and fortunate enough to get a scholarship to go play at Notre Dame. Had a great 4 years there. And like you said, got drafted in Dallas. Growing up in New Jersey, I was a Giant fan, so getting drafted to Dallas was a big change for me. But it's pretty easy to change teams when they're paying you. So automatically became, a Cowboy and was thrilled about it. Have great memories. A couple of my coaches, Bill Parcells, Tony Sperano, the GM Jeff Ireland, a couple others left Dallas, and I was traded. Going into my third year in Dallas, I got traded to Miami and kind of had a Dallas-Miami kind of contingency down here. Played 5 years, was a free agent, went to Kansas City for 2, Tennessee for 2, and then back down to Miami for my last year.
Yeah, and that's something that, talking about getting drafted to one team and then over the course of your 12 years having 5 different moves. I mean, of course, you were in Miami twice, but, you did have that moment where you were called and had to pack up and move. And that's something that I think a lot of people from the outside looking in, as we're looking at all the discussions now, ironically, throughout the NFL of, whether it's Marcus Mariota going to play with the Raiders or Tom Brady announcing he's leaving the Patriots or what's going to happen with Cam Newton and the Panthers. A lot of, on the outside, we just talk about, how is this player going to fit in with this team and their future, what's it going to be like? But when you're the player and now your whole life is being uprooted, it's a whole different feeling.
Sure.
Can you touch on that, having to pack up and move your family from Dallas to Miami to Kansas City to Tennessee and back to Miami?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, and maybe fortunately, it's part of the game now. So it's somewhat expected. You see franchise type players, Hall of Fame type players changing teams, and it's just the nature of the business now. So it's expected, but it doesn't mean it's any easier. Fortunately for me, I really didn't have a family and was married and children when I was doing a lot of the moves. So it was a little bit more nimble. It's really tough for families that are established children in school. So it's part of the reason I decided to stop playing. I didn't want to move my family around. But for guys, it's part of the territory, and you kind of know what you sign up for. But it's definitely difficult. We're still human. And yes, it's a good paying job, and it's kind of not our job, but a career in our life. So you make the sacrifices to do what you love, but it doesn't make it easier.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Regardless if you have a family or not, or regardless how much that, I don't know, I'm sure the contract helps, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that you're now moving to a whole new environment to play with a whole new team. So having grown up in New Jersey, and you talk about being a Giants fan, I'm actually an Eagles fan, so I don't like the Giants or the Cowboys, but I can at least understand the Cowboys hate, so to speak. And, going from growing up in Jersey to Notre Dame, where you aspire to be able to play at the highest level of football, to actually do it and make it. What was the hardest moment, I would say, for your transition from playing at Notre Dame to now being in the NFL?
Like you said, it's not many guys are able to have that opportunity. And, football, the game itself is a very team game. There's not, a lot one person could do to change the fate of the team entirely, So, and I think that kind of is very similar to your football career. Be able to move up the different steps and levels of football. It takes other coaches, teammates, support from your family and friends. Rarely a guy does it on his own. So I was fortunate enough to have that, family, friends, and great coaches, and, making sacrifices as a player. I mean, there's a lot of things you can choose to do instead of, go do the extra weight room or training or study or film study. So I think making those small sacrifices add up and give you at least the ability to be able to move on to the next level.
Yeah. And then also, within your rookie season, you play in all 16 games. You become the third rookie tight end in Cowboys franchise history to start the season opener, and then you go on to have a good freshman or a good rookie season. Excuse me. Can you take us through the people around you? Maybe it was Jason Witten, who was also a tight end, or a coach or another player that helped really guide you as you're trying to navigate and transition into the NFL. Some players coming into the professional level, maybe their transition's more from the perspective of being a bench player or, the number 2 guy, the number 3 guy. But for you, as someone that was able to come in, start games, and also play in all the games, though you didn't start all of them, but still getting field time, what that was like to have someone and who that person was that really helped kind of guide you through that.
Yeah, you really have to come up to speed fast. I had a very veteran Hall of Fame coach in Bill Parcells that puts a lot of pressure on rookies. So I had that, and a very veteran-heavy team. Drew Bledsoe was the quarterback. You got guys like Flozell Adams and Marco Rivera, Mark Colombo, just a bunch of guys that set a great example. But I was in the tight end room with Jason Witten every day. He was, although he was a young player at the time, he still was probably one of the better coaches I had as far as a player coach. And even the values and the routines he taught me, or I emulated in the following years, I still think about and do in my personal life. He's made a big impact on me, along with Coach Parcells and the late Tony Sperano. So having all those, like I said, that team and that support around you made my transition a little easier. It wasn't easy at all, but it did help, not having to depend on rookies that were lost as well, and really, had guys that had figured it out that I can emulate.
Yeah. Do you have a moment that you remember in the course of your career that kind of was like that surreal moment that, you know what, I'm here, I'm playing, I'm living the dream that I always had of making it to the NFL, and just that jaw-dropping moment that kind of sweeps you up in all that you've been through to get to this point, or to that point, I should say? Yeah,
it's tough, because you go from a busy senior college season right into draft prep and combine prep, into getting drafted right into rookie camp, and you kind of just stay right into training camp. So you're in a whirlwind, and you're really not taking it all in and just taking it day by day. So it's tough to put a finger on one moment. I remember a preseason game that they were announcing starters, and we never did that in college. And I was in a tunnel like, hey, should I wait here and get announced and go onto the field? And they looked at me like, yeah, no shit. Like, yeah, you are. So that was kind of something that sticks out on that. But just being a little green. But yeah, having that support, caught me up to speed. I think a lot quicker than some people have the opportunity to.
Yeah. It's funny that the things you realize are different. Like the fact that they do announce you. That's something that is such a small difference, but it's like you wouldn't even think about. Whoa, what did I do?
Right.
That's funny. I like that. So, now having played on multiple teams, do you have a specific team that I wouldn't say is your favorite, but maybe you enjoyed that experience more, learned more from your time with that team?
Yeah, it's tough. I take positives away from every team and situation in city. That knocking, the rookie itis off in Dallas and really getting some great mentors to kind of being having my prime of my career and being really close to my teammates and being active in the city in Miami, going to Kansas City and building that program back up for the first couple of years at Andy Reid and making great friends, that game day atmosphere in Arrowhead. Then going to Tennessee and having a great group of guys there, Mike Larkey and Arthur Smith, Delaney. So great teammates and memories there. And back to Miami, where I always kept at home and spent the off seasons and met my wife. So coming down here and being able to play with a bunch of familiar faces again to end my career was great as well. So combination of all. But at the end of it, 6 out of the 12 years were in Miami, and I consider myself more Dolphin than anything.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes complete sense. It's like from each team is a different chapter in your life, and you can definitely take positive away from each of it. So, but it Chiefs won the Super Bowl this past year. You had been there at the beginning, as you talk about with Andy Reid. So that had to have been very unique for you versus those of us that are watching as just football fans. For you having had the opportunity to play in Kansas City, to see all of that, how it all came together.
Sure, and there's, it was 6 years ago that I played there, but there were still familiar faces, same coaches.
Right.
So it was really good to see. It was very happy for him, especially Coach Reid. He's been doing it the right way for so long, and finally was able to get a ring. Tom Melvin, my tight end coach, I have great memories with and appreciation for, got a ring as well. Guys, I played with Matt Moore in Miami, and he was a backup there, and Chad Henne and Anthony Sherman. So a lot of great guys I was happy for. And I also had a couple of friends that were coaching in San Fran. So it was really, whoever won that game was a win-win for me, being happy for people.
Yeah, and I remember, as we were preparing for the Super Bowl, and a lot of the interviews and discussions that were coming out was really all of the work that went into building the foundation for the Chiefs, and of course for the 49ers, but speaking as the Chiefs, since you actually played with that franchise, the foundation that was built that started years ago, and you were a part of that foundation essentially. What was different, and what's something that maybe you saw being built then and that, in your opinion, led to the success of the Chiefs they're having now? Even though you weren't someone that was a part of this Super Bowl in particular, you were definitely a part of helping to build the foundation of Kansas City football.
Yeah, well, I think I was just a piece of the puzzle for a short time in Andy Reid's methodology of building a team, and his consistency and his dedication to the craft and how he built the team. It just happened to come together later on for him. But I think it's really, he's the kind of the architect of that, and it just happened to come together, with great all-around play, especially at the quarterback position, being able to score points and really keep teams off balance.
Yeah. So my final question then, having been, you talk about your journey from New Jersey as a football player playing Pop Warner to being a part of the Fighting Irish with Notre Dame to getting drafted with the Cowboys, of course, throughout your time in the NFL, whether it was catching a touchdown pass from Tony Romo or getting injuries or whatever the highs and lows may have been. What is something that you looking back now, reflecting and taking a moment to look back, would tell your younger self, for those that are also in the process of their journey, whether as an athlete or just in any career, whatever field they may be in, starting out, trying to get to the highest level they can within their industry?
Yeah, it's tough. There's a couple of things. I mean, you need God-given talent. But you need hard work. You need great mentors, support system. You need to make a lot of sacrifices along the way. And if you're doing those right things, it's not gonna happen overnight. It's gonna take a long time. So be patient, have delayed gratitude and gratification, and work towards that. And you have to love the game. If you love the game and work your craft, it'll all work out in the end. And it's not something I regret, but it's something I look back on, and it's the most kind of beneficial thing I took away from my career is that the people and the relationships I made. I took advantage of it. I urge younger guys to do the same, because there's a special bond between teammates in the locker room and throughout seasons. So just take advantage of that. It's a special fraternity to be a part of.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's something that unfortunately a lot of people may not realize when they're in the moment. You talk about that whirlwind of everything that's going on so fast, but definitely to make the most of it and take advantage of every opportunity, whether it's build relationship or trying to find time to enjoy it. So, Anthony, where can our listeners follow you on social media and everything as as we continue to follow along with your family and all that you're doing, post NFL now?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't do the social media game, but I'm involved after football in a great cause and organization in the behavioral health space, drug addiction and trauma space. I work and I'm a partner in a facility out in Vail, Colorado called All Points North, and we serve the behavioral health community and in particular athletes that need help in that space. So I love being able to help athletes, after I'm done playing, and also do some good for the world. So really excited about that. You can check us out at apnlodge.com. And, if anybody's in need, we'd be happy to help.
Awesome. How long have you been working with that? That's an incredible cause, and I think it's something that we're seeing more and more of, really making sure that once players are done, we're still working to help them and working to provide these resources for them. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been, I got involved in it while I was still playing. So it's been about 6 years now, and there's been some changes. But, we're really excited about where we're going and the time that we're doing it. I think a lot of people are starting to concentrate on their mental fitness and not just their physical fitness.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So definitely something worth checking out. And I'm excited that you've had the opportunity to join us on the show to talk about your experiences, your career, as well as the work that you're doing now to still help give back to the game and be a part of the game in a unique way. So thank you so much for joining the show this week. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Renee. Thanks for having me.